Welcome back, Legion, to the final episode of
The Debrief.
the debrief episode of Legend of the Five Rings Season 2. Fantastic. It's good to have told that story in a way that I feel did service to what I had wanted it to be before we had all of our technical problems at the start of the season. So, how are you guys feeling?
I'm so happy my plane went off.
I just have to express some concern. Like, I know the ending of that was the better ending, as Mike said, but man, it's got Dave really down. He looks really blue right now.
Hang on. Attack road!
Oh, I've got something even better.
Oh, no!
Oh, Jesus, Dave, no, pick anything else.
This is the mood of 1,000 Years of Darkness. Just all of us in red, constantly just oversaturated.
Where do we keep finding all this blood?
This is Dave. I play Kinsuke Shibazan.
Oh, my God.
Hey, get that thing from Kill Bill when it cuts someone open, and there's blood everywhere.
There's blood everywhere and it just turns into a red screen.
You look like a 70s alien film.
We're so sorry, Dan, for all of this not color balanced stuff. We're real sorry.
So, Devin, how did you feel about this season?
I felt it ended where I wanted it to end, and I'm very satisfied with where it ended. I'm glad that it did, and I'm even very happy that we took that unintended final episode that it just worked out that way. I think it's appropriate because of all the technical problems I had for the first 3 episodes, and I felt very down actually for those first 3 episodes. That I just wasn't able to deliver the story that our fans deserved. That you guys deserved, and it was just frustrating to me.
It was really rough, but Dan did a really good job of still making it interesting, and I was just like, oh, wow, that was great.
I honestly have no idea how he did it, and he even cut in images where I'm frozen. Like my screen was frozen, and he cut in images of where it's a frozen screen, but I happen to have an appropriate look in my face or something.
Very good.
But my face is frozen the entire time. And then suddenly in the next scene, I realized, oh shit, I'm now downstairs.
Let's give just a quick, quiet applause to Dan the Video
Yay,
Ninja.
Dan.
The best man.
You did a fantastic job. I watched those 3 episodes. I thought, oh my god. I mean, the fans will notice that I sort of jump rooms. But aside from that, you don't really notice it unless you're looking for it in my mind.
It was seamless. It just didn't seem like there was any problems.
Yeah, exactly.
At least Dan didn't make you into a marionette when you were talking, just your jaw.
Don't tempt him, right.
Once I got my technical shit sorted out and got the proper setup, it went off so well. And then it was just trying to lay the tracks down in a different orientation to ensure that we get to an ending. Even though I wasn't entirely sure which ending was going to happen.
An especially different ball game for you this season, because season 1, it was the tournament, and it was just like the tournament. There was a small aspect of mystery to it towards the very end, but this season was entirely a murder mystery.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And that was the challenge I gave to myself, is I've never done any kind of mystery before. I've done it once in a home game of Call of Cthulhu, but aside from that, I've never done anything in D20 Live or any kind of RPG outside of that as a mystery. And never mind a mystery that I sort of wrote myself. So and I'm kind of happy that whenever season 3 comes around eventually, that it's going to be it's going to be more of a samurai action adventure than anything else.
Just give yourself an easier time next time and just throw us at it.
We've got 3 fighters, it should work.
Yep.
I'll survive.
It should work.
Like spaghetti at the wall.
Dakios has had a lot to do this last season, so let's see what he does whenever he's in a non-court situation.
I'm going to sit back and let them do their thing. I'm kind of chill.
I foresee Dakio as being a sort of spy master, a war spy master sort of role.
I can live with that. I hope to God you are okay with my plan now that it's done.
That was done. I had no idea what you were going to say. I was sort of dreading it the entire season as to what you were going to say to Shoju, because the moment episode 3 aired, and you told, or was it 2? It was 2 or 3, I can't remember which, where you revealed the plan, your master's plan to Totori. By doing that, you have undone his plan, and he would be pressured, regardless of how you spun it, to do something. For background for the fans, that is a betrayal of loyalty, and that is the absolute final sin. You can murder someone in the Scorpion clan. You can murder another scorpion, but as long as you can justify it that it's for the best intentions of the scorpion in the end, you'll be fine. You'll get a slap on the hand. But if you betray the scorpion in any way, betray their plans, betray the clan, you are put in a totally different place. It's called the Traitor's Grove. It's a beautiful forest that is at the base of their castle. And they would take a dagger, which is the dagger. Mike thought it was actually cutting. It's interesting that he used the same dagger, the dagger that he was going to be sacrificed with, to cut his top knot. I'm like, that's cool. That's a nice bit of poetry there. But they bring the traitor scorpion down to Traitor's Grove, pin him against a tree, and drive the dagger through their heart into the tree. And their spirit, through ritual magic, is taken out of their body, through that dagger, and into that tree. And they are kept conscious for as long as that tree's alive, which is why it's immaculate. They don't die. They don't die. They are forced to live to see essentially the end of the world, completely conscious but unable to do anything about it. See their family die, see the clan perhaps fall, whatever, but not be able to do anything about it. They don't rest. That's the Traitor's Grove. And it's that's
horrible.
Yeah, it's not great being a scorpion. We live under very rigorous standards.
Yep, very rigorous standards. So I was worried the moment he did that. I'm like, I'm going to have to sacrifice him. This is going to be a very tragic end, which is fine. It's a samurai drama. You can have tragic ends. You're supposed to. It's like Shizuka. The one role was going to determine whether she had a tragic death or a victory. So that's part of samurai drama. But I'm glad that Mike, you spun it in a way that I was like, oh shit, he would be okay with that. Because now that Satori is alive, he needs someone in court to help him, and in the champion's court, and this champion actually trusts him. And like you and I were talking about, Mike, that we've talked about often, there's no greater gift to a scorpion than someone who did the trust of a higher up. Yeah. Of another clan. So
that was kind of my plan from the get-go for how to get out of it, because I know you kind of challenged me at the end of last season.
Yes.
And I was literally in the shower and I pulled it aside. I told Sam the plan, and she looked at me and said, "You're gonna fucking die."
Yeah.
Yes, but if I pull it off, I'm gonna be the greatest fucking scorpion in all of Rokugan.
So I'm curious how the three of you, outside of that, but Mike did what he was hoping to do, that to carry out his plan and survive. That was his goal. I'm curious if the three of you from last season, not only achieved your goal, but achieved it in a satisfying way. Like, you're happy with how it happened, with what happened, or and that sort of thing. What was your experiences going through this season?
This was a very hard season for Shizuka, only because of the fact that Shizuka, I realized, doesn't have an investigate skill at all. And they're like, oh yeah, you're the one who's in charge of all the investigation stuff. And I'm like, say what now? What do you mean I have to think? I'm only good for one thing, and then smacking things in the face. It was really hard. Cause we were talking about it like in the chat, because Devin had actually laid out all of the hints, like literally before we started recording these last 2 episodes. Going like, these are all the hints, and I'm just sitting there going like, I have no idea how any of this is connected. I feel really dumb. And Devin did bring up a good point. It wasn't because of the fact that I was really dumb. It was just because of the fact that this was over the course of like 7 episodes.
Over multiple months. And there was no way that my brain was going to keep all these connections together. And that's unfortunately the part of just how we recorded this.
Especially because you guys were also wedding planning.
That too, and the wedding. In the end, I got to do the thing that Shizuka is very good at doing, which is stabbing people. So I'm just like, yeah, she got her honor back while also subsequently becoming a Ronin, but that's 13 years later. Who cares?
Yes. Yep.
I was watching the Roll20 chat for those outcomes, and I was so nervous. I'm like, God, I really hope Shizuka redeems herself here. Oh my God. And the first thing I see is the 44 that you got. Yeah. But I'm like, but Devin said that he already had his roll queued up. Did this guy just get the 44? Oh,
well, yeah, no, because the thing, I really needed to find out exactly how much I was doing, because of the fact that I know that the honor roll can be used as a different thing. So I'm just like, hang on, I need to know what this is. Just because if I don't, I may die. Yeah. Because my Ieijutsu is actually 9 keep 4. It actually does, it's on par
with Doji Reiju, so I'm not that.
Yeah, it was interesting. He was like you had nearly identical.
Yeah.
Stats.
So
yeah.
like if I had rolled straight, I probably actually no, considering how many I had actually rolled, I probably would have actually on the averages, I probably would have still beaten him, but just barely.
The reason why fans are probably like, well, why didn't Doji Reiju use it? Because his honor is lower. He murdered his master. And other people know that. And the interesting thing about L5R is it's public perception. So the very fact that the Emperor's son knows that he murdered someone else means that he's so desperate to maintain public face, his honor is actually lower. Because he can't be. He knows that he is a murderer. He knows that he has sinned. So he can't have the honor 5 or 6 that a Crane can. That a Crane normally does. He was honor 2. He was not quite as low as he could have been, but he can't have a very high honor because he knows himself he's a shithead.
He also was thrown out of the Doji household to begin with.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. So if he had done an honor roll rather than just his raw skill, it would have penalized him. It would have substituted for a lower roll. Just to save off that question and why people are like, well, wait a minute, why didn't he use that tactic? It's like, well, honor is stronger than steel in Rokugan. That's the saying. So if you have a high honor, you get the benefits that Shizuka did.
I did say I'd stake my honor on it, which is very high.
Yep.
I was actually
it got higher now, you know that, right?
I know because of the Topaz Championship, your honor went down, mine went up, and I'm like, oh god, I really hope that didn't impact this that much.
Thankfully, what happened last season was I actually went up a 0.5 rank, so my honor actually started at 6.5, so it was up to 7. So when I dropped down, I'm only down by a 0.5 rank of what I normally would have been.
She still lost honor, which is horrible, but she still, by comparison to other people in Rokugan, it's not that much.
It was still a slight, and I still fixed it.
Yes, exactly.
I really like how I was able to kind of impress the leader of the Seppun, Seppun Ishikawa. That was kind of fantastic. This is the best job interview ever.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I didn't really walk into this season with goals, but other than having fun and helping these guys do their things. Yeah. But I really enjoyed the with Kaede and
good. I'm glad. Yeah.
Instructional stuff. Or not the instructional stuff, but the investigational stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I had a lot of fun this season.
Yeah, it was interesting doing that talk about pathways and destinies while I was waiting for Mike to actually say what he was going to say to Tottori. That's why I put the two there, because I didn't know what he was going to say. I didn't know what other people's choices were going to be, and it's one of those. If Tottori didn't know what was going to actually happen to him, wasn't actually prepared and hadn't become desperate, he wasn't going to injure Aramoro in the same way. He's an honorable lion. He's going to just do first blood. And in official fiction, how that works out in canon fiction is he just does first blood. Aramoro can still fight properly. And months down the road, Aramoro takes vengeance out on Tottori by killing him. He assassinates him. Because he's still functional and still works.
Oh, is this a new timeline?
This is a new timeline. He assassinates Tottori, but Kaede is able to heal him, take him from the brink of death, but people see that he dies, so he can no longer be champion, and he's forced to abdicate through no choice of his own, because Aramoro murdered him, and people think he's dead, and they can't reveal that he was assassinated or assassinated attempt without revealing why. And that why is because he's investigating what Shoju was doing. The plot that I did hint out, that Shoju was trying to bring about Daisetsu, that Shoju was trying to break the imperial line. So that was the vision that I gave you of Kaede over Tottori's body while he was bleeding out whenever you were talking with her as one of the many rivers. Was that particular storyline, and then Mike turns around and tells the whole story, which means Tottori is prepared for this eventuality and is much angrier at Aramoro and decides to deal with him once and for all and put the bad thing down.
The cocksucker in his place.
But I'm glad you're pleased with being able to interact with Kaede. She's going to play a part in season 3 again because again she marries the man, and for some reason he becomes a Ronin, so she's now a Ronin too.
We get some crab champions in here too, just to.
Oh man, Crab would be so great right now.
Oh, man.
Just walking in there with their baseball bats.
With their baseball bats, fucking things up. Yep, spiked baseball bats. Dom, what did you think of how things turned out based on you just didn't want to fuck it up? That was your goal from last season.
Yeah, I didn't want to fuck it up. That was the biggest thing.
Yep.
But my satisfaction of the story and where Daishi ended up relies on something that hadn't been covered in the, 13 years later. Who did I marry, Devin?
Did he end up with Yukimi?
Who did I marry?
You want that spoiled?
Yes, I do.
Well, that would entirely depend on whether you would go against your clan or not. Your clan would want you to marry someone outside of the clan for political ties, but it depends on whether you feel that Daishi would choose to go his own path or to follow the wishes of his clan and marry for political reasons. Rokugan typically doesn't marry for love.
Yeah. Maybe that's something you and I can talk about.
Exactly.
Between this season and next season.
Yep,
but
exactly.
Man, because Daishi is a gambler,
Yep.
he really put all his chips on Yukimi not being a part of it and not screwing it over because he was going to go in there and be like, and he did. He was like, we've had someone has been on the inside of this investigating. Mm-hmm. If she had been a part of it, she could have easily been like, I don't know what you're talking about, and completely screwed over everything by, testimony against
Reiju. Yeah, exactly.
And I intentionally didn't bring that up with the,
Yep.
But he was taking that risk, because
she was a good person.
He knew that he suspected that she was a good person. He only had so many interactions with her.
Yeah.
But more than anything, we needed someone to speak on that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And someone to speak against Reiju.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who had clout.
We had already gotten the okay from Tottori being like, yeah, kill him. Maybe. But now that we have the testimony, I'm sure that brought, higher...
It brought weight. Yeah, it brought weight to the fact because testimony matters more than evidence.
Yeah.
Written testimony, i.e. letters, still counts as testimony. It's not actually evidence. Because you can get someone to corroborate, yes, that's Satsume's handwriting, therefore Satsume is giving a testimony. Mm-hmm. So,
and there's so much honor tied in with putting your mark on something. However could, this person lie in writing?
Yeah, exactly. Because that would be still lying in front of the gods, whether it's verbal communication or written communication. The gods see you do it. So,
the gods and the emperor.
And the emperor, yeah. The emperor is watching you.
Yeah.
The emperor watches you.
So I think Daishi is in a good place at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Before the 13 years later, he managed to not screw up. He absolutely leaned on Shizuka throughout the entire process. He was just walking around bumping into things and being like, I guess that makes sense.
Shizuka goes like, look, I need you to pull rank here just so that way we can get the information we need.
And that's essentially what he did. He was just kind of starting to learn the impact of his rank. That's why, in the last episode, he walked up to Yukimi, not even saying anything else, not even being respectful, just, you're coming with me right now.
I need you now. We're going.
Because he knew that Reiju was right there, and he wasn't getting into a back and forth with him.
Yeah, and I love that the fact that the person who you gave the first order to is the person who passed the mantle on to you. I think that's weirdly suitable in a way. Who you not only cared about, but someone who is sort of saying, it's your turn now. And now you're showing that you're ready to take on that responsibility to that person, which is a nice little touch that I never intended, and that's part of the beauty of a good RPG game.
Subtlety.
Subtlety, yeah. So what do you think, Mike? How do you think things went?
I think they went really well. We did have a bit of a rough part at the beginning, but the last bit of it, it was slowly ramping up better and better and better in pace as we got closer and closer to the end, and I am incredibly satisfied with how it ended. I'm surprised you went to 1,000 Years of Darkness. I thought we were going to...
It's one of those. I mean, it's one of those. Okay, if we do, that was my intention from the beginning. It was basically, again, that whole pathways of choice. Yeah. It's like, you guys are the ones, as Kade said, who will determine the course of things to come.
Yeah, but if we're in the 1,000 Years of Darkness, Totori's alive. If Totori and Shoujo are alive, we do not have problems.
I never said Shoujo was alive.
Well, if he is.
If he is.
That's a reveal for season 3.
If Shoujo is alive.
No spoilers.
There's a way, if they're both alive, there's no problem. If the 7, I don't want to spoil who the 7 are. If they're still alive, there's no problem. Or it could have shifted and we could be members of them.
You could be members of the 7, yeah.
I'm surprised no one came back about the fact that the Hante Emperor has had 2 children, and they're both categorically fucked up in one way or another. It's like, do you want Satori, a complete madman and sadist, or Daisetsu,
the one who would basically kill his own brother in order to get to the throne,
who would methodically poison Rokugan and the belief that he was doing the right thing? And I'm like, let's take the obvious evil.
At least the obvious evil, we're like, look, he's clearly bad. We need to figure this out.
And that's the interesting thing. It's one of those. So where I was going to go is something that I'm sad that there are 2 companies that have owned this IP over the years. There's AEG Company and FFG, and they have now also gotten rid of it. They've ended their line. Because of COVID. While AEG owned it, they had started down this timeline of when Daisetsu becomes the big bad of like multiple years of official canon storyline as like the dark. He doesn't become the dark god. He essentially becomes the dark god incarnate. So much different. He basically creates this concept of samurai who still follow Bushido, but it's called Shiroido. It's essentially dark virtues. So the choice between the 2 of them are, okay, you're going to be going against demons and darkness, which is Satori, because he's so easily corruptible already that the plane of darkness and evil corrupts him without effort, and you get a horrible world. Or Daisetsu comes in. He is still corrupted, but in a very different way. He maintains control of himself, and in a way is even worse to a certain extent because he turns Rokugan against itself. And you start having effectively a civil war between light samurai and dark samurai, a la Star Wars and so many other styles of narrative.
Can I show the printing issue with this one book?
Oh yes, yeah. I love your printing issue. It's fantastic.
It's great.
So we start. Cover is lovely. Back cover is lovely. Crack it open. It has this lovely map of Rokugan. And what's on the first page? An upside down glossary.
Dave's got a misprint.
Misbinding.
Glossary. The last page is the book. So I have to literally my book over.
Start from the back.
And start from the back like a manga.
That is a beautifully horrible printing error, and I hope it's worth a lot of money someday.
And here in the back of the book, we have the
table of contents. It was basically one of those, you guys would decide, okay, I'm either going to do season 3 is going to be, I knew both of them were going to be time jumps, but it was going to be a time jump to either 1,000 Years of Darkness, if Satori won, or a time jump to what I call like the Shiroido era, the Civil War era, where Daisetsu turns Rokugan on itself. So that was always the choice, mainly because I knew we needed a change of pace from what we were doing. I needed to close off the last story. I needed to close off what happened with Satsume, because that's what started off everything in the first season, and I wanted to move a change of pace. So it's one of those, okay, all right. I still want them to have agency, and I still want them to have character resolution, but we're going to have a major tonal shift. So just the direction would be up to you guys.
If we went Civil War route, clan-wise, would any of us have been against each other?
Yes, you would have to a certain extent because in the Civil War era, large swaths of the scorpion and the crab, and to a certain extent the dragon, become corrupted to a greater or lesser extent. So you would have been potentially, you and I would have had to have discussions of here's a couple of different turning points along the way. So Mike would have. Dakia would have essentially, and I would have had discussions with him, but it's like most of your clan sides with Daigotsu, is the name of Daisetsu whenever he becomes the big bad. Most of your clan sides with Daigotsu. What are you doing? And what choices do you make kind of thing? And I would have had the same discussion with you, Don. The decisions would have been far harder for Mike because most of his clan in the latter years of the Civil War do shift. Under threat of I will destroy you or you will side with me kind of thing. Whereas the dragon are, okay, well, at the same time, he is the emperor's son. Some of the things that he's saying make sense. Not all of them make sense. It becomes much more like the dragon are representative of the yin and the yang situation within the Civil War. Because he's still following Bushido, but it's a very corrupted Bushido. It's an extremist version of it.
The dark virtues, yeah.
Yeah, the dark virtues.
And I'm now happy I didn't take a crab.
Although we do adore your crab character.
That would have been super interesting if, we went that route, and at the end of the season, it would have been Daishi versus Shizuka again.
Again, yeah.
Oh god,
I'd have poisoned you so fucking hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd have
I think
showed
it's one of those things that I'm like, I had thought about that. Like, if we do go the Civil War route, I do want to have one of the climax scenes be the two of you standing against each other. And again, if Dom chose to go that route, if he didn't, then we wouldn't have had it. 1,000 Years of Darkness is without spoiling too much. Is essentially the Emperor becomes corrupted and dark magic and demons start flooding into Rokugan from the other side of the wall. The crab don't matter anymore.
Oh, the crab matter. They're just so fucking
They're just super angry because they feel they've failed in their duty.
You go to the crab and say, hey, do you guys want vengeance? Yeah. We're going for it, son!
And the other thing that I'm going to be doing, something that made me really interested for where Season 3 could go is FFG, for all of the I don't like their new system, I love their adventures. And they presented a very fascinating in-canon way to spirit travel or time travel, where you're going back and forth from past and present and having the past affect the present kind of thing. And if I do a time jump, I can actually show how we got to this, but still have them play their same characters.
That'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
And it's cool. So I can sort of have them in canon playing the siege of the Imperial City over the course of the entire season, but time jump back for reasons that we'd get to try and to show the audience how we got here, the choices that they had to make, but maybe have some of those choices change the outcome of the attack on the capital.
Being a Seppun hidden guard, we're going to have some talks about...
You are. It would have been myself and Mike and Dom talking. Now, for this season, you and I are going to have to do talking.
Yep.
Because, the Seppun hidden guard have to make a variety of choices in the lead up of the Emperor's corruption.
Yep.
So
you just had me walk into the camp.
Yep.
With these lot, and
Yep.
All right, who's my charge? Who's no spoilers, but who's my charge? What's my stance on the Emperor's corruption?
Are you a good guy or a bad guy?
Yeah. Did I turn baddie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hope not.
That's what we're gonna have to talk about.
I wonder whether or not we're going to do a jump in ranks in terms of leveling. In which
you will.
Case,
Yeah,
in
you
which
will.
case,
yeah.
I need to pick out some new tattoos.
Yes, you do. You also need to put the tattoo on Yukimi that you promised her in season 1.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I'm a little sad that I didn't get to demonstrate my other tattoo, because I have 2 right now, right?
Yeah.
There's the dragon breath, which is the dragon tattoo on the neck. And also, I'm thinking we should get character art next season. On his back, he's got phoenix wings. He has the phoenix tattoo, which if I'm close to death, it brings me back up.
I can start doing that for next season. So
you got a couple things to do.
I got a couple of other things first to do. So
yeah.
The one thing I kind of wish, if this was even a slightly looser canon, I would have had Dakio, after his hair had been cut off, turn to the room and said, "For all the people wondering what I would have said if I'd gotten nailed to that tree, I guess we'll never know," and walk out.
I love it. I just have one last question for you guys. I know we're at time, and hopefully this won't take too long. But I'm curious what you guys thought of the mystery now that the mystery is done. How it played out. If you had any thoughts on
if I had another 3 episodes, I probably would have been able to figure it out on my own. Or if we had played it closer together, right? So if we hadn't been playing it over the course of several months, and then on top of that having a wedding to plan, I'm pretty sure I would have gotten it without the help that we did. Because we definitely needed help, because we were so close to the end that we're just no, we need to consolidate and talk to each other. This is not happening.
Well, that was also part of the problem. Is like any good mystery, all the principal characters are given pieces of information.
Yeah.
And it's only through sharing and that information that you even know what's happening.
Exactly.
So,
right. So, but I'm pretty sure if we had another 3 episodes, it would have been oh yeah, okay, we figured it out, we got it, don't worry.
Yeah.
Right. But because of just timing and everything, it that's how it came up. And we're but other than that, I think it was pretty good just to come up with that entire thing. I know Mike was already suspecting Daisetsu.
Yeah. I didn't want to, because I didn't know if Devin was going to go down that route.
Well, because of metagaming, right?
Yeah,
but
yes, of course. Yeah.
Right, but I kind of was already on that track because of the fact that he was too good of a person, and I'm just immediately I'm no.
Sus.
On the heels of that,
I
would like to say fuck you, Devin, because you went up to Daishi and you were like, "Oh yeah, we got this club. It's called the Obsidian Crowns. We're cool. We're hanging out with the Emperor's son. He's actually a decent guy. Come be part of us. It's this exclusive club." And I'm like, you know what? This is cool. This is cool, especially because Daisetsu seems like a really good guy.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm part of an
exclusive club.
The exclusive club. I feel like I'm part, backing the really, really good horse that's not his older brother.
Yeah.
And then you turn it around and you're like, bro, you're part of a fucking cult. I'm Daishi absolutely would have fallen for that, but more than anything, so would I, and that makes me so mad.
See, I was actually hoping. Yeah. I actually didn't know how much Mike knew about the various canons, because I know Mike knows a lot, and I named them the Obsidian Crowns. Doesn't exist. That doesn't exist whatsoever in the official canon. But what does is Daisetsu, when he becomes Daigotsu, in the same way that all the different champions have a name, like the Scorpion Champion, the Crab Champion, yada yada yada, he calls himself the Obsidian Champion. So whenever he becomes a bad guy, so I was hoping I wonder if Mike will get this reference. I need a name for them, but Obsidian is in Rokugan, just how I explained it in the story. It's not corruptible to a certain extent, or doesn't, and therefore Daigotsu takes it because he still thinks he's a good guy. He thinks he's doing the right thing, so he feels that I'm not good, I'm not bad, I'm me, I'm not corrupted. Doesn't matter. The fact that I use dark magic and the fact that I murder people is neither here nor there. I'm doing the right thing. He thinks he's a good guy. The Obsidian. That's why he calls himself. The part of why he calls himself the Obsidian Champion. And it was one of those I wonder if Mike will get this. Not sure. No. Okay. I was curious because it's one of those. I know how much I've read of the knowledge, but I'm glad that it was one of those bait and switch moments. He's gonna hate me, but here we go.
The second I figured it out, I was so mad. I was like, fuck, here we go again.
It was really good, and you absolutely baited me with Yukimi, and you did.
I don't have much more to say. I'm pretty satisfied with how this wrapped up. We had a bit of a time getting into it, and I think we might have been better served starting off all together.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
But apart from that, just to keep it on that mystery pace, because the second we were all divided, we didn't know how much we could talk to each other like we did before.
Right.
But apart from that, nah, man. Once we got in it and we're trying to figure it out, it was good.
I'm looking forward to whenever we do season 3. In the meantime, thank you for joining us for the debrief and enjoying the season. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave comments on our Discord, or as always, or leave comments in YouTube. Let us know. So I always like hearing from our fans. But until season 3 and until next time, I've been Devin, your storyteller for season 2 of Legend of the Five Rings. I'm
Mike. I am now just playing the Ronin Dakio.
I'm Dave, playing Sepun Gensuke.
I'm Dom. I'm playing Daishi Togashi. Who am I gonna marry? It's a mystery. Find out next season.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sam, the production manager, and I am just plain simple Shizuka, and hopefully I will romance Toku next season.
You're not getting him. He belongs to the Scorpion.
I will do it!
He's our monkey! He's our monkey!
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.